Hello, my name is Flossie, and I have a bowl full of teddies, and I love to talk about those books, and I am so glad you could join me because I always look forward to your visit. Today, we are going to discuss a very important book that was brought to my attention by a subscriber. And I cannot tell this subscriber how grateful I am for introducing me to this book. Fabulous. And I couldn't get enough of it. I read it at lightning speed. Vanished in Vermillion, written by Lou Ragusa. Okay, so let me put this bowl of deliciousness down. Vermillion, South Dakota, 1971. This was the end of the year for these two schoolgirls, and there was a big keg party going on to celebrate the end of that school year. And Sherry Miller and Pam Jackson come from two totally different backgrounds, but they were very similar in personality. They were fun to be around. They were good girls. They got good grades. They were working girls. They both worked at the same hospital together. And, they were fun to be around, the life of the party. And we have Sherry, who comes from an undesirable background. I say that because the male figures in her life were abusive towards the women in her family. There was drinking and alcohol, and there was parental neglect and that sort of environment. And Pam comes from a solid foundation, church-going parents. She was the youngest of her siblings. She was way younger. Her older siblings had married, moved out for quite some time now when Pam came along. And so she was treated much like an only child by her parents. And she was a member of the Glee Club, the choir, the 4-H club. She did sewing, she did cooking. Two very reputable, nice, everyday, friendly, caring young ladies. And, they worked that day and wanted to go do something fun. So Sherry came home from work, put her paycheck on the table, went and took a shower, and, decided that she was going to go to this keg party. The friend that she was going to go with backed out. Her parents said, no, we're going to a wedding and you're coming with us. And so Sherry was like, no worries. I'll just find somebody else to go with. And so she called Pam up. And Pam's mom, who usually said, no, sorry, you can't go, this time said, yeah, you can go. Because she didn't want Pam to think that every time Pam asked for a little bit of freedom, that her mom was always going to say no. So this was an occasion where her mom was in agreement and said, yeah, you know what, you can go this time, but just make sure your room is cleaned and your chores are done and this and that. So with a little bit of excitement, Pam grabbed her father's red and black flanneled, shirt and headed out the door to the Studebaker. I never know if I say that word right, Studebaker, where Sherry was there to pick her up. Not quite sure how to get to the party since these weren't party girls. They waited in the church parking lot for this collective group of boys that they went to school with to come out so they can ask for directions. And one of the boys did give directions, but he felt like these directions were a little bit too complicated. So he said, you know what, better yet, why don't you just follow us? So that's what happened. The girls followed them. And this young man who was driving knew the way to the gravel pits where the party was being held, like the back of his hand. But as you know, it sometimes happens, he missed his turn and ended up having to go a mile out of his way before he can actually turn around and come back. In doing so, they no longer noticed the headlights of Sherry and Pam's vehicle and thought perhaps the girls changed their mind, or there was a lot of little parties going on in the area. Maybe they decided that that's what they were going to do, go to a different party instead. So they didn't really give it much thought. They went to the party and the girls were never, ever, ever seen again. I went into this book naively, and I refused to Google anything that would give it away for me. Yeah, so I'm going to try to be very careful and not ruin it for you. That's about as much of the story as I knew. Oh boy. This book came out in February of 2023, I want to say. It just came out. Am I right in saying that? Yes, I am correct in saying that. All right. It's absolutely a book that you should read, whether you are a true crime fan or not. A lot of information in this book. A lot of leads, a lot of roller coaster riding, a lot of emotion, a lot of disbelief, a lot of, okay, well, let me keep an open mind about this, and maybe that is a possible scenario. This is hard. This is very, very hard. I feel like these girls were my friend. I have acquired a fondness and a love for them, and I just think they deserved so much more. And the parents, although they are two different sets of parents with two different ideals of how you raise a child, regardless, the hurt is the same. The pain of losing a child is the same. I would never, ever forgive what was told to Pam's parents, knowing they left this earth being told what they were told. You cannot fix that. You cannot change that. Not only unfair to the girls, but unfair to their parents. I have to say, thank God for the people who do their job correctly. I'm so glad that there was justice for these girls. I'm sad that it took 43 years to get there. I'm sad that the parents had to leave this earth knowing what they thought was the truth. I could only hope that in the afterlife that everything was resolved and everyone is at peace. If you're a fan of true crime, or if you've heard of the story of Pam and Sherry, you have not heard it all until you've read this book. Lou does such a fabulous job. It's a page turner. It absolutely is. And he, I'm not kidding you, writes with such fluidity that I read like 30 some pages. It felt like 4. And before you know it, I was 30 more pages into it. It just goes by so quickly because you are engulfed in this storyline and the absurdity of most of it. Oh. I don't know. I'm going to show you it one more time. These girls, oh my gosh, they deserve way more respect and attention than they were given in the treatment of this case. Fabulous read. I can't say enough good things about the extensive work that Lou put into this book, and what a gift he gave us in dedicating his time to do all these interviews and take the time out to investigate and find out and talk, and all his hours of dedication. When you get the right people on the job, anything is possible and everything is appreciated. And I don't know, I'm just so mad at the people who half-assed their jobs. I mean, it's people's lives at stake here. For Pete's sakes, you know, take it serious. These girls deserved so much more than what some of these officials gave them. I don't know. This is a fabulous book. This is going to be absolutely one of my best reads of 2023. And it's so sad that I have to say that, because nobody wants to say that the death of two girls and the story of their life is going to be their best read. It's not my best read for that reason or in that manner. It is my best read because the story was told with such fluidity, and it was the right people dedicated, the right time, and the outcome was solved and the mystery was put to rest. Now, after you read this book, I suggest Googling it, watching the newsreels, seeing the pictures in color. Yeah, I wouldn't do it before the book was finished. I would definitely wait until after. Like I said, I'm doing my best not to put any spoilers out there. I wouldn't want you to, you know, spoil it on yourself. It's a wicked and wild ride, and I definitely would recommend it. Until my next video, know that I love you. Be well, be good, be reading, and may all your book dreams come true.